I'd like to call the Building and Utilities Committee meeting to order. It is Monday, January 27th at 6:13, 2020. I'm Zachary Allen, Chair of the committee. We have Mr. Twist to my right and Mr. Twilliger to my left. We have 4 separate agenda items today. We'll read through each of them individually, if that's all right. First one, to provide a recommendation to council regarding bidding authorization for the rebuilding of the Parkson Screen number 2 at the wastewater treatment plant at a cost not to exceed $100,000. Could you provide us more detail?
Sure. We are asking for authorization to bid, enter into a contract that would not exceed $100,000. That is the amount that was budgeted, or has been budgeted in the 2020 budget in the sewer fund. As the report indicates, we have 2 Parkinson screens at the plant. These are self-cleaning filter screens where the wastewater comes in and this screens out the solids. It goes into a dewatering system, and then the solids are taken to the landfill. This screen that needs to be replaced and renovated is about the age of the plant, so it's approximately 35 years old. We are not requesting emergency legislation.
Any questions?
Yeah, don't look at me like that. This isn't a hard question. Did we already replace screen number 1 a couple years ago, or repair it a couple years ago, or would that be coming up later on down?
That will be coming up later on down a couple years out. Probably 2025.
Okay, so it's a couple years out from there. And then when we bid this out, do they give us an estimated time to complete the repairs? That how long will this be down?
We typically ask for a time frame. That's
Okay.
part of our analysis.
Okay. So someone could be cheaper, but if they're like, hey, it'll be 8 months from now,
We may have an issue.
yeah, okay.
The unit probably really, so essentially what happens is you order the parts and everything, the unit continues to operate, you don't really take it out of service until the contractor's there to,
To do it?
yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Sounds like it's done its duty, 20-some plus years, budgeted item, done.
Any other elected officials with questions, comments?
If I may.
Yes.
This is one of 2. We have 100% redundancy, is that correct, on this system? And was this a video that was done by Mr. Beckner that I saw on Facebook, part of the one we were replacing?
No, that was the influent screws, so that was ahead of it, that was the influent pumps.
Okay.
That get the water up to the Parkson screens, and yes, there is 100% redundancy.
Yes, we'll be able to keep one of them in operation while the other one's down.
Correct.
And probably right now, one of them probably normally operates, and they flip back and forth.
Right, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Does any city staff have any further comments or anybody from the audience? Gentlemen, recommendation?
Move forward.
Move forward.
Okay. Item number 2. Provide a recommendation to council regarding authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety to enter into a professional services agreement with KZF Design Incorporated of Cincinnati, Ohio for the design of Fire Station 1 replacement at a cost not to exceed $600,000.
Yeah, so Jill Rhodes, city engineer. So they started the process back in 2017, the fire department did, and they did a feasibility study of the space needs assessment, and they actually looked at all 3 fire stations. My understanding is they looked at all 3 fire stations to say, are they placed in the correct location, with the areas that we're serving and where are we, going in the future. And so the Fire Station 1 was located just about in the correct spot. And so then they kind of said, okay, well, what do we need at that area, again, looking in the future. And so we took that, and in 2019, we went out for a request for proposals to consultants, architects, for a new facility because it was determined through the space needs analysis that there was not sufficient room on the existing site on East Race let alone, even if you say, well, what if you tore down and rebuilt? They even analyze that, but the site is so tight. So, then in 2019, there were a couple sites that came available, which you guys authorized to purchase, 110 East Canal, as well as the 212 South Market. I think I said 212 South Market. South Mulberry, sorry. And so we, at the same time, you guys were purchasing the properties, we were going out asking for RFPs from these consultants. We got about 5 or 6 consultants back. We had a lot of interest, and it was a tough decision. We ended up shortlisting and interviewing 3 of them, and then at that point, we're required to go into, we choose one, and then we start to, we don't jockey back and forth. We choose one consultant, and we negotiate with them. So KZF Design was chosen as the consultant. They're out of Cincinnati. They have a lot of experience. That's one of the things that the fire department chief, as well as the assistant chiefs being a part of it, they did a lot of due diligence. So with all of the consultants that came in and proposed, they were out calling and going to different fire stations to look at what was designed, asking them how the process went with the consultant, things like that. So we're looking forward to working with KZF. And so the budgeted amount was $700,000, giving us enough for consultant and any unforeseens. If there needs to be, a little bit of additional design that we don't know, because right now we haven't done any geotechnical bores. We also need to go through and look at environmental, see if we need to test that any further with the demolition. We're asking for $600,000, and then the remaining funds will be used for, like I said, any additional studies or anything like that. And I think that's it. So what questions do you guys have?
Were any of the 5 Troy firms,
No.
the 100,000? Will that be rebid, or does that go to KZ whatever?
KZF.
Yeah.
So the 100,000 between the 600,000 and the 700,000, no, it'll sit in the budget unless we need it for design. So one of the things that we are looking at that we'll be using would be an on-site inspector. So we haven't gotten through the design. I'm talking to an on-site inspector. He's engaged through the design process, but then when we actually go out to have on-site inspection, because the engineering department, right, wrong, or indifferent, we don't do we don't really inspect buildings above grade. We do, all of our inspection is utilities below grade. So Walter Burton's a guy that we're talking to that we'll hopefully engage if it fits, because he's looking to retire, hopefully engage if it fits his schedule and everything like that. And that'll be part of that.
It would not be bid unless it was estimated to be 50,000 or more.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So these are just
Sorry.
miscellaneous costs that may come up.
And this is for the design only of Fire Station 1. Do they give a recommendation? There's no demolition of the buildings not included in that. It's
Yeah.
just,
That's
here's
a
what
separate-
can be done for demolition,
Yes.
here's how much they think it costs, and here's a design on how to do that.
Yeah,
There's
so we're
design.
looking at, so it's for if you want to say the construction drawings, documents for the demolition,
Okay.
but the demolition costs are not actually
Are
included in
separate.
that. Yes,
Okay.
correct. We'll go out, we will be coming back, okay, so this is for the design portion, but when you actually talk about construction phases, we will be coming back to you for at least 2 contracts, one being the demolition of the building that's on East Canal and South Mulberry right now. And we'll be doing that in the next month or couple of months, I should say. We want to get that demolished so that we can make sure we know what kind of soil's underneath it before we start to build up again. And then we'll be coming back to you. The second contract we'll be coming to you for is the new building to put it on the site. And hopefully, if everything goes well, it'll be by the end of this year that we'll be coming for authorization to bid.
And does it make sense that would we use them to, if we have to demolish where the current fire station is? Would we include that in this cost, that if we would have to demolish it, it's already done and we have the plans for that?
Well,
Or are we thinking we aren't going to demolish Station
Well,
1?
we're not to the point where we think that we're going to demolish Fire Station 1. There's no need to. There may be some other redevelopment
Okay.
that can be done with that building rather than demolishing it.
The engineering department has other plans and requests
Yeah, I was,
that Patrick doesn't know about yet.
oh, okay. We'll hear more about those in the future.
Probably won't hear about
No,
it.
we won't hear about them. Oh, I'm making a note now. Please ask.
Any other questions?
Gentlemen? I don't.
If I may.
Council Phillips?
Okay, just to clarify,
Yeah.
this amount of money is for design of the new Fire Station 1.
Yep.
And mitigation issues that may come from that, and a cost to demo, potentially demo, number 1,
No,
current number 1? Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
Demo of just the buildings
Just,
on the site.
I'm sorry, that was my confusion, just the building that's existing where the new station will go.
Yes, and it's not the actual construction cost.
Right.
Okay,
It's
yes,
not the actual demolition cost.
yes,
Right, no,
It's
yeah,
just the design and getting everything prepared to demolish.
yes.
got it. And have we ever used KZF before?
We haven't. We use them for a little bit for the Proudy Plaza. They have a lot of park experience, things like that. So we use them for when we thought we were going to go out for design for that. They were helping us set up a document, like kind of a design document, kind of a basis of design document. But that's the first time in the last couple of years. That's the first time that I have come in contact with them. And I'm not sure. I think just in the last couple of years, the fire department has become aware of them. And then Mark Shoemaker, is that yeah, he's one of the guys that's on there who has over 30 years of experience. And he, even in our meetings, he talks about going to all these fire station seminars and conferences and talks, and just talks about some of the, where's the industry going. And it's pretty interesting. It's like, it's his life. I mean, so,
Chief Simmons, did you sit in on the interview process?
yes, they did.
I did, and one of the key points of KZF is their ability and their experience of older communities and incorporating fire stations into that arena. So that was one of the big takeaways for KZF, is their portfolio of actually working in small communities like ours, dealing with historic issues of, whether that's planning commission for we are in a historic district there. So their experience with that was high and above any other architects that we talked to.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And I'm assuming the chief will stay involved in the design process and be a part of that final approval
He's
committee.
looking forward to it, gets to work with me.
All right, just making sure.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Any other questions from anybody in the audience? Gentlemen? Move forward.
Move forward.
You're good. Line item 3 of 4. Provide a recommendation to council regarding authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the internet telephone provider for all city facilities at a cost not to exceed $140,000 for each 12-month period of the contract. Mr. Titterington?
Yes, sir. So we had a 5-year contract with Frontier. This is back approximately 6 years ago when we upgraded our telephone system to a VoIC, voice over internet, bought new equipment, and then as part of that had the 5-year service agreement. That agreement expired early last year, so we've been on a month-to-month. There are several options for internet service in addition to Frontier. Preliminary estimates tell us that, or informal conversations tell us that rather than the approximately $203,000 that we've been paying, that we can save a significant amount of money by bidding. And so we are asking for a 3-year contract, amount not to exceed $140,000 with 2 potential 1-year extensions of that based on mutual agreement between us and the provider.
Okay. What was in the budget before? Was it 140 or 200?
No, it was the $203,000. That's what's been running all funds, not just general fund, but all funds, because it's split up.
Okay. questions?
Nope.
Anybody from?
Do-
Okay.
Yeah, do we, so even though a lower bidder, are we sure that the customer service and the, I guess, speed of which that customer service is done is a part of that bidding process? So we could have a cheaper services, but if something would go down, if they're not able to service that or resolve those issues in a timely manner, that would not necessarily benefit us.
So whether it's internet service provision, fire station design, or water line extensions, every bid that we do, we have to evaluate it based on the lowest and best bid. Not just the lowest cost, but also the best bid. And part of that is to check references, to
Do
find
they
out
provide
what their-
service? I mean, do they provide service numbers to us that, hey, this is our average service, whatever? Do they provide any data about how they service once you use their systems?
Well, that will be part of the proposal that they give us, is how they resolve
Okay.
our complaints. There are only 3, maybe 4 potential providers. We are pretty knowledgeable on all of them. And so
Right,
we will also then take their references and as well as
Okay.
our own experience and use that as part of our evaluation.
Okay.
Now, this is city facilities,
City
not
facilities,
communities.
that's correct, right. This is not an opt-out electric program. This is for connecting all of our buildings to here to City Hall, similar to what is done now.
1 solid year and 2 negotiable.
3 solid years and 2 one-year negotiables. So
3 goes to
potential of
5.
5 years.
Does this have anything to do with cybersecurity, or is that a separate?
That is entirely separate. That's a layer, if you will.
Okay.
This is the backbone.
Any of the council members with questions?
Mr. Titterington, are these optical, fiber optic, or is that what we're on now?
We are on a combination between fiber and copper. One of the specs that we will include will be fiber from port to port, basically. And if a provider wants to bid some alternative, they will have to prove that it is as reliable, as redundant, as scalable, and expandable as fiber would be.
How many different providers are there out there now?
There's probably 3 or 4
I was
that
gonna
would
say
be
3,
available
I think,
here
though.
in our region.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? We're ready for recommendation?
Move forward.
Move forward.
Good. Item number 4, provide a recommendation to council regarding authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the Central Service and Maintenance Facility HVAC replacement project at a total cost not to exceed $103,200.
Good evening again. So the facility, the Central Service and Maintenance Facility, was built in mid-'80s, and this is an existing HVAC system. We have been requesting it for, I think I've been here 6.5 years, I think for 6 years.
Since I've been on council, it's on there.
And it continued to go. It was supposed to go last year in the budget, and then it just didn't get pushed in with the budget items that needed to be done. So it got pushed over to 2020, but now we're asking for authorization to bid so that we can get it done, hopefully in the early spring, and then they'll have HVAC. I do know that there were fans blowing all summer. There were issues last summer.
And just to clarify, for the last 6 years, it's been in the budget as an if-needed
Yes,
expense.
Correct.
So we've been able to defer it up until last year.
most certainly.
When it was needed, but didn't quite get finished.
Okay.
But they soldiered on.
I don't have any.
Any questions?
None here.
council members?
How old is this system?
85,
85.
original, so 30, whatever, 4, 5.
So we've got our mileage out of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
most certainly, yes.
Any city staff questions, comments? We ready to move forward?
Move forward.
Great. Do you have anything else for us tonight?
No, sir.
Meeting adjourned.